because here's what I'm, and this is spoiler free because I've not read beyond book 6, and I haven't read any short stories beyond that either, and I've been very careful to stay spoiler free. But I have seen some people discuss in a spoiler free context, like a meta of like, why is things coming to an end here at book 6? And you think about trilogy and trilogy of trilogies, right? The first trilogy was all confined to our solar system, which felt like a big place, right? But the end of book 3, the ring gates all opened, and now we see that there's over 1,000 more worlds to explore. What are we gonna do? I've heard that going from book 6 to book 7 is a similar expansion in scope, and I don't know what that means, because like does that mean like multiverse, or does that mean like some kind of harnessing or mastery of the protomolecule, which will and with the exotic alien life that we see in display of here. That you're essentially bootstrapping a Star Wars trilogy, and like that the money that you would have to spend on the show because of the increase of special effects, because maybe aliens, because of maybe like intense starship battles, because of the crazy protomolecule science fiction magic shit, that the budget is just going to spiral, and you essentially need like to completely renegotiate everything. If this is like the gateway between book 6 and book 7, if this is like a portent of things to come, that makes a lot of fucking sense, because this looks like a much more expensive show than what we're getting right now, which has essentially submarine sets and some splashy FX shots for sure. But it's not in every fucking scene. You don't have like a purple dinosaur.
And those splashy effect shots are drones and hard edge ships, and like knowing even the tiniest bit about 3D, I know it takes longer to create organic creatures, things like that.
100%.
Basically anything you can make out of primitives is probably not going to take you much time.
And animating it, all that.
Right. So the ships are not a problem, but then you get to creatures and stuff. That would be hard. So I, like, as somebody who doesn't think they're going to do more of the Expanse, there's no way they get to that stuff. There's absolutely no way they expand the scope of the Expanse in season 6 with only 6 episodes and now 5 episodes to go. They just can't. They can't. Knowing the story of book 6 and the things that they have to deal with, the things that are already on their plate, you can't load up anymore. You can't.
So that's what I'm saying. I expect this plus like some kind of post-credit scene, because we already know the final episode is like a monster. It's like 65, 70 minutes long. I think that there's going to be a big pitch. They're going to leave Expanse fans desperate for more, and then the new Screaming Firehawks campaign is essentially, hey, shouldn't we get out there being loud and proud about like HBO picking this up for a miniseries option, or Warner Brothers picking this up for a 3-picture deal, or like it's going to be something like that, because I think they just need. It's my theory that this is all about, getting a budget big enough to tell this big fucking pan-galactic story that they're trying to tell, and it just isn't enough on the budget that got them this far. Because that's the only thing that makes sense to me. Why else would you tease this shit that's going to be beyond this season, or as you say, not relevant? The only nightmare scenario I can think of is they're bringing just enough of like books 7 through 9 to make it not worth telling. That's one of the reasons I didn't personally like, what was it Serenity? What was the Firefly movie?
Serenity.
It was Serenity. I didn't like that movie, not because I didn't think it was good necessarily, but it just finished Firefly.
Yeah, it was
like,
everything.
You would have to, like, every open question you had, significant parts of the crew taken off the board. Like, that was the nail in the Firefly coffin. Yeah. There was always hope to have more you could always bring, they're not too old. Everyone seemed like they were into it. But like when that movie came out, that was just my mind waving the white flag. And I guess the only thing they could do to kind of piss me off this season is if they bring in enough of like 7 and 8 and 9 to just like essentially just put a cap on those storylines without exploring them, because I don't want that. I like having 3 more books of The Expanse to enjoy as a standalone thing, and maybe one day to be adapted. I would much rather have that than a half-assed dash through them. And I don't know, but there's no way with 6 episodes they're going to do that, I don't think.
Yeah, I wouldn't think you could. That scene at the beginning is super worrying. The scene we're still talking about with Kara, because I just think this series is going to be somewhat radioactive after
You think
the
so?
end of it. I mean, Sci-Fi dropped it. Amazon's going to drop it. Who picks up this potato and says, "Yeah, we can do something with that"?
Well, the thing is like, but that's the thing. Like, Sci-Fi dropped it, but for, I guess, reasons that made sense. It wasn't making money.
Exactly.
I don't know that Amazon's dropping it though, or
I mean, they're not
you know
letting
what I'm
them do the
saying?
rest of the story. There's no way they get through the rest of the
Yeah.
story here. Yeah, I mean,
And
Amazon
if they
is
wanted
all,
twice the
all but
budget,
dropping it
like
here.
surely they would go and say, "Hey, we need twice the budget," and then Amazon would be like, "Sure, yeah, or no." So those conversations have had to happen. But then I guess if you don't want to make more, why the intro?
Yes.
Why? Because to
It's
me,
weird.
that is only that, and that's only a trailer for more Expanse. Kind of like if
Mhm.
all we got at the end of, I think that if Expanse stopped in season 3, it would still be, work, because it's kind of self-contained. Like, yes, there's clearly more Expanse, like, oh my god, there's Ringgate stuff, but like all of the
Mhm.
Mars, Earth, war, protomolecule plot, all that stuff was neatly tied up and ended.
Yeah.
Which I appreciated. But you still had, like, naked Holden screaming in space, beholding the
Uh-huh.
the Ringgate system. I wonder if this is that version of, like, naked Holden screaming in space. Like, if it ends
Could
in the 6th season and that's all we get, then there's still a hint that, like, hey, it could be Ty and Dan, like, fuck, let's just advertise the next books. Like,
Mhm.
there's more Expanse, you just have to read our books, fuckers.
Sure.
And in the meantime, the more that's successful, I just, like, here's my bedrock thing. We have so many places that are desperate for content. They're adapting crazy shit, stuff that's always been considered unfilmable. Foundation, Wheel of Time, The Silmarillion, shit like that. Like, they are really priming all the fantasy science fiction pumps for more content. They're gonna walk away from a completed book series that has a fan following just because it's, like, hard to film or expensive. Like, I just don't see, of all the studios out there, all the channels, all the stuff, all of them say no. That seems hard to believe. Seems
Yeah.
very hard to believe.
Now we'll see. Maybe they'll get a 2-season run on Netflix and they'll cancel it for its 3rd. That'd be great.
I mean, clearly that's what I don't want, like, half a
Right.
series and then it gets
Right.
canceled on Paramount Plus or
Uh-huh.
something like that. I want someone like,
HBO.
Netflix.
HBO would treat
I want
this
something
thing
like
right. Yeah.
Fuck, but HBO's in the middle of their own kind of, like,
Yeah.
tumult of, like, well, what are we doing here? How much content we want to make? Are we making Christmas movies? I guess we are. But yes, that's the ideal home for the Expanse.
Yeah.
If Amazon doesn't
the
want it,
HBO of yesteryear, the one before HBO Max, that puts money
Yeah.
into shows simply because they're prestige and simply because it will heighten their reputation, not necessarily because it will make them a ton of money.